Alright guys, just San here, back for another Dragon Ball Z Dokkan battle video. And in today's video, we're going to be doing a team building guide for the up-and-coming Physical Piccolo's EZA event. Now, the weakness is power absorption, which is alright. I mean, that's pretty good, right? I mean, most people shouldn't really have any difficulties with this. Power absorption has a lot of units on it that have been featured a lot as of recently. So I think most players aren't going to struggle with this. But maybe if you don't have those standout units or some of the units that have been featured a lot recently, you might have some difficulties with it, but for majority of players, should be really easy. And the things you are going to want to avoid are bringing int units, which isn't really that big of a deal because it's just these guys right here, and then the int cell, which I guess not being able to bring the EZA LR int cell is kind of a bummer, but that's not really a deal breaker. I mean, you still should be able to beat this, right? And then you don't want to bring superclass units, which that doesn't matter. There's only like 4 superclass units even on power absorption, so that definitely isn't really that big of a deal. So this should really be easy. I mean, honestly, you know, good category. Like I said, a lot of standout LRs. So yeah, let's just get right into it. Starting off with the best lead is the AGL Cell. Now, this guy isn't as good in his first and second form, but that doesn't really matter because this is an EZA event. So even in his first form, he's going to be performing just fine, right? And then, of course, once you get to his perfect form, he is going to be really good because he's got all the additionals, he's got all the crits and all that. So he's definitely just going to be destroying this event. And then if you do manage to get his enraged form, which is probably unlikely because these, EZA events typically don't go past like turn 4 or 5. But if you do manage to get it, it's very useful. You get the guaranteed crits. He gives himself some ki, so it makes getting a super just a lot more frequent. And just overall, a really good unit to bring on the team. Well, I mean, you're going to have him as a lead. I mean, he's the best lead. So if you have him, you should be running him as a lead. So you're going to have 2 of them. And that's really not going to be a bad thing because this guy is still really good. And like I said, it's an EZA event, so he's not really going to be dragging the team down because, the event really isn't that difficult. But alright, moving on to the next best lead, we have the Physical Bootanks. Now, Bootanks is really good because he has the defensive stacking, he's got some healing going on, he's got some additionals built in, so his damage definitely will be good. And then he does have the absorption, I guess, into Boohan, which, I mean, yeah, he's good, right? I mean, nothing too crazy. This guy, I mean, he's been out for a while, as you can see right there, so of course, he's aged a lot, but it's an EZA event, like I've said like 3 times already, so he'll be perfectly fine in here. But if you do have this cell, you probably should run that guy over running this guy as a lead, because he only gives HP 130%, and then the cell does give HP 170%, of course. But, I mean, the Boohan does give 4 ki, so if you have to run this guy as a lead, I mean, you can still make it work, but I think cell definitely is a better lead. So yeah, Boohan definitely a very good just unit to bring overall. He's an LR, so of course he's going to be doing a ton of damage. But moving on to now just kind of like options you can bring on the team instead of like leaders necessarily. We have the Physical Metal Cooler. Now this guy, of course, is insane. I mean, he's pretty new, so I'm sure a lot of you have him. He's got the revive, he can build up, he heals a ton of HP. And then, of course, he has the active skill that hits really hard as well. So overall, a really good unit. Not really too much to talk about because, I mean, just a good unit to bring in this event, right? I mean, with the revive, you probably don't even have to run this guy on a leader skill. So if you don't have any of the 2 power absorption leads and you just got to run like a sub team, you could still probably just throw this guy on the team. And with the revive, he'd be able to work because you basically just get a free rotation, right? So this guy is really good. I mean, the use for this guy is limitless just because of that revive. So overall, really good unit. But moving on, now we have the STR second form cell. So this guy is a support for Android / Cell Saga category Extreme allies. So I guess there are a couple units on here that are on power absorption that could benefit from that. So if you do throw them on the team, then of course he would be helping them out. And him himself is fine. I mean, as long as you have him in slot 2 and you get the super off, his tanking ability is going to be just perfect, right? I mean, he won't take any damage. And then he does get some extra damage reduction because there is going to be an Android / Cell Saga category enemy with the Physical Piccolo. So a really good addition to bring on the team. He should actually be doing a decent amount of damage because he has type advantage as well. And then, of course, his tanking ability will be just fine because he's got the damage reduction. And then, as long as you get your super off first, you'll get that extra 180% attack and defense. So just a really good unit to bring, mainly, though, because he has type advantage, right? Now, moving on to the next option, we've got the Str Android 21. Now, she also has type advantage in here, so it's another reason I think you probably should bring her. But she's pretty good. I mean, she heals HP. She gets some extra attack and defense on super. She does debuff the enemy, but that's not really going to do anything once you get past like the 10th phase, because then after that he cancels any attack or defense debuffs. But still, I mean, a good unit. You know, you've got the transformation, which is only a 40% chance, so that is a little rough. And also it has to be on turn 4, so it's not going to be that common you get it, but I mean, you still can get it. And then of course when she does get that, she becomes pretty good. You know, she's stacking attack, she's debuffing the enemy, which, I mean, we already established you can't really make any use out of that after, like, you know, the 10th phase. But still, she's going to be looking really good. So overall, a good option to bring. Of course, she has type advantage as well, so there's not really a reason to not bring her. But alright, moving on to the next option, we have the Str Super. Now, if you're on Global, you could probably get away with bringing this guy on your team just because he has type advantage. But if you're on JP, this guy's like a must run because he has all these crazy transformations that you could get. More specifically, you know, Boohan and then Piccolo, to where this guy is just going to be like insane, because then in this transformation, you get damage reduction, you know, you support all allies, and then Boohan, you have like the 70% chance to guard, you're greatly raising attack and defense for 3 turns. Like, I mean, this guy easy 8 for the 8th year anniversary, so I'm sure a lot of you already know what he does. I mean, this guy is just insane, right? So if you're on JP and you have this guy easy aid, this is like a must bring. But if you're on Global, you don't really have to bring him on the team, but if he's one of your only options, you could definitely make it work, right? So overall, a really good unit on both Global and JP, but more specifically JP, right? Because he has that easy A. And then now moving on to a JP exclusive, we have the Dokkan Fest Super 17. Now this guy gets a lot of hate, but he's still really good. I mean, he'll be very useful in an easy A event. You probably won't get the Super 17 transformation because the conditions are just a little bit harsh. You have to be on turn 5, and you have to be below 70% HP. So turn 5 is typically when you're wrapping up the fight in an easy A event. So you probably won't get the transformation off like I said, but he's still good enough in his pre-transform state, or his pre-fuse state, I guess. So he'll still be able to provide a lot of use, and you probably could do like a sub-team with his leader skill as well. So a very good option to bring, right? I mean, he's still really good in his pre-fuse state, like I said. He's got a lot of attack and defense going on. He's got some additionals. He's got some crits. So a good option to bring nonetheless. And then moving on to one more JP exclusive, we have the AGL LR Super. So this guy is really, really good. I mean, he's just insane, right? You know, he's got the guard. He's got the extra attack and defense for the first couple turns, which is going to work perfectly because, as we've said, these easy A events typically don't really go past turn like 4 or 5. So that extra attack and defense will last for majority of the fight. And just, I mean, a crazy unit overall, right? I mean, he's got the active skill, but it's turn 5, so, yeah, you know, you might not see it that often, but it's still there. And just a really crazy unit. I mean, the amount of damage this guy's going to be doing is just insane. And then, because it's an easy A event, even if you're not getting his guard off, that's okay. You're still going to be able to tank because it's an easy A event. It doesn't really hit that hard. So, definitely a good option to bring. You know, just a very good unit overall. But, I mean, that's pretty much the video, right? It's a very small category, so there's not really that many standout units to talk about. I mean, I guess there is, like, this AGL Piccolo, who's pretty good. He's a sub-lead for power absorption, so if you don't have any of the leads, you might be able to make this work. And, you know, he's got some healing going on. He is a support as well. So, actually, you know what? I probably should have mentioned this guy on the list, because supporting power absorption for 30% attack and then 50% defense, that is actually a very good support. And then with the dodge, actually, yeah, he could be looking really good in this event. So this guy is probably a unit you're going to want to bring on the team because mainly that's support. I mean, you know, there's the Super 17, there's the second form Prime Battle Cell, which Global we don't have as easy A, but if you're on JP, then just another reason why this easy A event is going to be easier for JP players. And I mean, that's pretty much it, right? I mean, I guess you got the Exchange Boo, you've got the Android 19 and 20. So, I mean, there are some good options, but it's still kind of a small category. So if you're missing some of these like really standout options, it might be a little difficult for you. But all right, I mean, yeah, that's pretty much the video. Let me know what team you're going to bring to take on this easy A event down in the comments. And let me know if there's any units I forgot about. I mean, I know there's a couple units here I'm not talking about, but I feel like the ones I went over are like the main heavy hitters you're going to want to bring on the team. So yeah, that has been the video. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll catch y'all in the next one.